Every single person is carrying something with them. You don't need to compare like mine is bigger than yours, like whatever. You have something that makes you feel uncomfortable. So like it's okay to not have to be grateful for having a less situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. We all have our shit. We're all going through it, and like that's the end of it.
Oh, your eyeshadow does look good.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
I forgot to do the thing, but I put it under my eye this time.
You learned some stuff from Hannah.
I did. Miami kind of changed me. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said I said Hannah, not Miami,
Hannah.
but
Sorry,
and Miami.
I you said Miami.
I feel like I just have a lot of boogies in my nose today, you know, because it's just dry out. Do you agree?
My nose just doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Which is why I'd like to crack that sucker right on open.
Ow. Well, ow. She cracks it open. Well, hello everyone. We are back.
Hello.
We are so excited for this week's episode. We have actually 2 guests about to hop on the microphone. So I guess we have a few little things we want to mention beforehand. Number 1 being Best Christmas Ever is still happening. In our bio, and you can donate.
Yes. I just want to reiterate that it's 200 families in Minnesota who needed our support. Even if you're not local, it would be huge. Like just $5, even that coffee that you're not getting. Anything counts for these people. They were not selected for Best Christmas Ever just based on how many businesses that could be supported or support other families. So if you are able to, please consider donating in the link in bio.
Yes, you guys. And even if you're someone who's like, I don't even have $5, I don't want to do that. Share the link. Yeah. Send it to your mom, dad, family. Send it to 5 people. Again, link is in our bio titled BCE. Please consider donating.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. But before we get our 2 guests on, I think we obviously have to do
straight candid moments.
Hey, I'm feeling like a little monotone today.
I know, that's
I don't
okay.
know why. Can you just hit me on the back?
That's okay. Here.
Harder. Yeah, harder.
It is.
One more.
Woo! I feel bad because my ring is just gonna rock your spine.
That's what
zing.
I like that pain.
That little guy is going crazy. That's fine. Do you have a straight candid moment, or do you want me to go?
Go for it, honey bun.
Okay. Well, I have a few, but I'll just share the fun ones. I will say, maybe we should just do a tiny little update. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a tiny little update. I just realized I have a funny one, but I went to Miami with my mom this past weekend. I guess you'll be listening later, but I had the best trip I've had in a long time. And I feel like I love traveling.
Why?
So
Why do you think?
Because it was time that we don't get to spend every day together. You know what I mean? I don't live with my parents obviously anymore. And we got to just spend time eating good food, going to get coffee, walking around in the sunshine, talking like that. It was just the best thing ever. It was just so freaking fun.
And it's like you're an adult now.
Yeah.
So it's not like the mother-daughter relationship necessarily. It's like your friends.
Yeah,
almost,
we were. We
right?
went to bars and danced and had drinks and we worked with a trainer. It was freaking hilarious.
I thought I was like, are they at a bar? I was like, Sid's mom would go be down to go to a bar. I love that. It's so funny that you mentioned this today too, because we're going to be talking about family dynamics a little bit too later on this episode, and something you should feel very lucky and blessed. Why do I keep saying blessed?
You're blessed. You're blessed. I look at you and I think, God, she's blessed.
God, #blessed. But
I am in a way. I really truly am. The fact that I get to do that with my mom, the fact that I saved up, and also the reason this trip was so special is because it was literally almost 3 years in the making, because it was a gift. I had gifted her flights to Miami right before COVID hit. So think about that. So then we were going to go and COVID hit. And so it's been waiting 3 years to do this trip.
Oh my gosh.
3 years. So we're you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go this year. And it was so much fun. And when this is going to sound weird, but yeah, people can relate. When you work your ass off and you make money and you spend that money on things and experiences that you want to spend it on, it means so much more. I'm intentionally spending my money and having a little bit more of a free weekend, because I'm treating myself and treating my mom, and that's so fun. So it was so much fun. And she was unbelievably happy. That was the coolest thing ever.
She looks so cute.
I know. I just want to squeeze her.
I know. I want to I want to pick her up and throw over my shoulder.
I know. We call her Little Bird because we think she eats a lot of granola, and she's just so small. And we're oh, Little Bird, and she's don't call me that. I'm like, you're down there. You're so small though and cute. Sing me a song.
Ben, sorry, Ben looked like he was just, did you get like a nude over there or something?
Oh
No,
God.
He was just smirking.
Funny friends.
Okay, that was believable.
What if someone was like, read your message right now?
I couldn't do that. It would be exposing my boy. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's
I knew
exposing
it.
somebody
I
else.
was like roasting my friend. That's why.
Okay.
Oh my God. We looked over and he was smirking his little, I almost said smirking his little nuts off, but that was, that's not what I mean.
Oh, I don't have a camera on me this time.
I know you don't. I wish you could see it though.
Are you guys? It's my group. My friends are going out to like a bar by that like all their old high school friends are going.
Oh,
And I'm like,
yeah.
let me tag along. I don't know any of you.
I did
love
that
it.
last year and we were the oldest people at the bar by far. It was like all my sister's age group and we literally walked in, we did a hot lap and we looked at each other and we were like, this is so uncomfortable.
Absolutely
We're
fucking
overdressed and I can't be here. Like we were like, nope, no.
The hometown bars around Thanksgiving and Christmas are insane. It's like
Rowdy.
you're just like you're rowdy. You're trying to like prove to your high school friends that like you're the shit, and like
Hey, I've changed.
you're wearing heels, and then there's like old Bert still sitting at the bar from like 20 years ago. It's just like a hoot, bro.
So relatable too. I will say I blacked out 2 years ago before Thanksgiving and I that was the worst Thanksgiving I've ever had. I didn't get to enjoy the meal. Like I felt terrible. And so
before
now I'm
you
like,
ate the meal,
the night before we went to Jack's.
you were hungover.
Cowboy
the
Jack's
next day.
I don't even know why I was ripping shots. I was with this guy and like at the time and I was like, oh yeah, let's do shots. Like, no,
You're like
no.
You're like shove or shot.
No, I don't even remember being at Jack's. Like not okay. And I woke up like in a funny outfit, like half on the floor. And I'm like, oh wow. Okay. I have to go see my family and thank everybody. You know what I mean? It was just like a weird dynamic.
You're like, Grandma,
Grandma's
been
so
great.
thankful.
I feel so good.
I'm such a good, wholesome person.
Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, sorry. Straight Cannon moments.
Yes.
That was a fun little update.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about life, dog.
What's my update? I don't know.
What the hell?
I don't know.
You just, you know, when you used to play CDs and they'd get a little skip in them? Yeah. They get a little scratch on the CD. I will say, this is random, but anybody with flight anxiety, I thought I was over it. And then we flew home from Miami during a storm. I have never been pulled that hard in a plane in my whole life. I thought I was going on a spaceship ride at Universal.
Feeling. I love that feeling.
At Universal Studios. I was not at Universal. I was on the plane. And all I could think about is, I'm like, oh God, we're going down. Colonial Woman on the Wing.
Oh, update. We had our live episode.
Oh, hi, everyone.
So fucking fun. It was better than I expected. My straight cannon moment is that I listened back and I just get really overly excited and I get high off the energy and it seems like I'm drunk and screaming at the top of my lungs. The thing is I was screaming at the top of my lungs. But
That's true.
But I wasn't drunk. Like I need to like dial it back. And it was so funny. I was over at my parents' house and I was talking to my mom about this because my mom is to a T the exact same way
She
I am.
is. She starts to do this little hoot.
Like she but when she gets around like a big group of people, sober, same with me, sober, it's like you're just like drunk on the energy and I literally was like cringing listening to the beginning of the episode, but by the end I think I settled down and like settled into it and like calmed down a little bit. So I would like to try a live episode again and like see if I can like control myself a little bit. But yeah, so sometimes even I think I'm annoying if you're listening, so I feel you.
See, you're saying that like you sound annoying to yourself, but like that's the self that I know and love. Like I see that and I'm like, Soph is in her element. Like she's having fun up there. Like that's what I saw when during the Poo Poo Boy story. I was going through the clips and
I screamed.
But
You did it. It was so fun.
But
it was so fun though.
But that's great because I think that really it's almost like the laugh track of a sitcom show.
Yeah.
Where like that was the audience's reaction. So like for them to it almost like
hear it from
subconsciously
you.
validates them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love that.
And maybe that's why I do it too, because I do feel like I try to make other people feel comfortable by me being maybe the weird one. I don't know.
Yeah, we have that tendency.
We don't fucking, we both do that.
We do that a lot. Yeah, I know. I'm like, no worries. That wasn't weird.
Right.
And then I'll do something weird to make it like not weird. I'm like, why am I doing this? It's extra.
It's
extra.
And also after the live event, I wasn't planning to get drunk at all, but we took that one tequila shot after the episode. And then we get to the bar, all the listeners that are at the bar after the show handing us shots. And next thing I know, I'm at Jet Set. And then next thing I know, all I remember is Ben was going, I'm going to leave. And I go, I'm coming with you because I wanted to Irish goodbye.
Oh, good idea.
And I was waiting for the first person to like dip. And Ben was like, I'm leaving. So Ben left. I took my hair extensions out, put them on Ben's head on the walk back.
I saw that photo.
And
it about killed me.
We had a great night.
You guys are hilarious. I wish I would have made it to Jet Sets, but people came to see us at that moment. And I was like, uh-oh, what do I do? And I'm like, uh-oh.
Dude. Oh, I rode in the Uber with Piper and Greta.
Oh, yeah. The two
listeners in the front row.
So cute. They're the best. They are
so
the
funny.
best.
I was going to say, I talked about this on my podcast, but I was telling Matt, I was like, I felt like a pretty girl because everyone was buying me the drink.
Oh, cute.
I was like, I spent $5 on cover that entire night. I was like, it was so sweet. Everyone was like, let me get you a shot. Let me get you a drink. I was
they admire you.
I'm a pretty girl. I'm a pretty girl.
Yes. Feels good, right?
Oh, it felt amazing.
You are a pretty girl, Ben.
You are a pretty
That's
girl.
Bennifer, our girly girl.
I think, I'm not going to lie to you. I saw a lot of girls flirting with Ben.
Oh, Ben.
And I think they wanted a story on the next episode. They're like, let's bring him home.
Ooh.
Let's get him all horned up and we'll tell the story. And he'll hopefully tell the story on the next episode.
Okay, that's actually genius though.
Right?
You can do that. Create a story for yourself. I love
get
it.
some
How to get on
ass.
Straight Candid.
How to get on Straight Candid. Here's your tips. I will say that event though was a fucking blast. Like we had
really
so
fun.
much fun.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was gonna go well, but to go that well.
And to plan it literally in like
that
a week. Yeah.
And I hope you like your goodie bags. I hope you're pooping in the toilet and using your poopery because we love that
Right?
stuff. Oh my God, I forgot we had candy in there.
I know.
We had a gift card, a free berries.
We had
God.
so many good
We're
things
the
in
best.
there. And we
No, I'm
forgot
just kidding.
we forgot to be like, open up your goodie bags, you guys. Whoops.
We forgot a lot of things. Oh well.
My other Straight Candid moment was I was over. So every Sunday we have family dinner at my boyfriend's house. It's become like, I feel like the part of my week where I just disconnect from like everything and like can hang out, whatever. Great time. And we were having like a little Friendsgiving vibe. So there's going to be a lot of food. So I decided, I'm definitely not going to wear jeans. Like I need a little looser pants. Also, a side note, I don't fit into any of my clothes anymore because my post-birth control bloat has been absolutely insane, not only in my face, but in my entire body. It sucks, whatever. So I'm like, I'm wearing sweatpants.
Yep.
So I'm wearing these kind of like thin, they look like Lululemon joggers, but they're not. They're a different brand that I ordered off of like literally TikTok, right?
Okay, yep.
And I have them in 3 colors, by the way, because they cinch in where I need them to. I feel confident in them and I wear them often when I coach. I also
I've seen those ones that you were wearing.
Yeah. And I also don't wear thongs anymore because it irritates my butthole. So
Okay.
okay. I wear
Good to know. Thank you for that.
So I wear these little boy boxer shorts that are called MeUndies. Not all the time, but I sleep in them a lot. They're not cute, okay? You know, you think I'm like some like sexy like lingerie underneath. No,
Bright red
I literally
lingerie.
wear these boy boxer MeUndies under. Wait a second. Hold my mic. No.
Do you have them on? Oh, let me see. Oh, there they are. Oh, shoot. Our sign.
These
Oh,
ones?
God.
So these ones are pizza. And I wear them.
my God.
I wear them because
What in
you
the-
can't see the line
Here, will
on
you
my
lean forward
pants.
just a little bit?
Yeah,
There.
you can't see the line on my pants.
more.
Anyways, no one else needs to know that. The point of the story is, I'm gonna leave this
Oh,
unbuttoned.
God. I need help.
Okay, the point of the story is, I was like me and Pat were wrestling or some weird thing at his parents' house. I don't know. I was bending over.
Yeah.
And he goes, haha, I can see your undies through that. And I turn around, literally dead serious. I'm like, what do you mean?
No.
What do you mean? He's like,
How long?
I was wearing donuts. I was wearing a donut pair, like all these little sprinkled donuts. He goes, no, like I was shit out on my phone. I had him take a photo.
How often do you?
I go, no, you can't. I go, babe, I was at his parents' house with his whole family, by the way, but I literally coach in these all the fucking time.
And you wear your
and
MeUndies?
I wear my MeUndies probably 50%, sometimes nothing, sometimes MeUndies if I want to keep my pajamas on. And I will literally in the front of this class of 40 people, I'm like, deadlifts, hinge your hips back.
And all they see is donuts and pizza.
And no one has ever said anything until
what are they going to say?
Oh, I can see your underwear. I'm like, I literally wear these all the fucking time.
Oh my God.
So
are you kidding me?
No, I'll show you the picture when we're done.
Oh, I'm just picturing you being like, you're going to do a sumo squat.
Thinking I'm hot
You're
shit,
coming kind of
right?
down low, and then you're going to squeeze those glutes to the top, and it's just a donut by the butthole.
There's a donut that is being like crunched eaten from my butt crack. It's literally being sucked into my butthole.
Oh my Lord. No thanks.
Right?
I don't like that. That's like almost as bad as like the squat proof pants, and like you can see your underwear. Yeah.
So now I know that they are not now I know that they're transparent and you can see through.
It's good to know that now.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan one time was like, hey babe, by the way, you know you taught the other day? And I'm like, yeah, you had a camel toe the whole time. I'm like, okay, and this is good information for me now. Why?
Yeah.
Why is this good for me now? He goes, yeah, you had one the whole time. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Also, you're like,
what the hell? I'm like, great, good. I'll pull it down. Oh, wait, we're not teaching anymore.
But we always have camel toes.
Yeah, guess
whatever.
What? Like
we
I
have
said,
vaginas. And it's your boyfriend who is staring at your vagina.
Of course he is. Guess what? We accentuate the crack in the back. What's wrong with the crack in the front? Nothing.
Yeah.
So stop with the freaking camel toe shame, okay?
Yeah, let that camel.
I'm over it.
Let that camel ride. Let her out.
Let that camel. I'm scared. Okay.
I think we should
in a moment.
Get into.
I hadn't done a straight camel moment
you haven't?
No.
Oh, I
was waiting for you.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
I was like over here like.
I'm like, let's bring the guests on.
I'm like, yep. Okay. I have like a few, so I'm just going to save a few because I'm like, no, I'm not doing that one. I'm not doing that one. Well, first of all, how awkward is this? So Ellie, our sweet intern that we used to have, it was her birthday. And so we texted her happy birthday and whatever. And I'm going about my day. And I was kind of like stressed this past week. And I went on my phone and it says, oh my God, it's Ellie's birthday. And I was like, oh, okay. Ellie. I'm like, oh, my friend Ellie. My friend Ellie from college. Oh, duh. Okay. So I sent her a long voice memo of happy birthday. Like, I can't wait to see you while you're home. La, 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 la. Waits 3 days. Texts me. She goes, hey, by the way, it's actually not my birthday, but thank you for your kind words. I'm like, oh, okay. I literally, and then I put 2 and 2 and I'm like, Ellie, intern Ellie birthday. And I already texted her. Okay.
I'm just imagining you in your kitchen. Happy birthday to you. I love you so much.
No, it's always.
You're like, my bitch. You remember that time when we went back and we were drunk and you told this whole story.
Oh, everything.
Singing everything. Telling her that you would like kiss, like love her to death.
I just love her so much and that she's like such a good friend and nothing changes when time passes. Like, oh God, I'm like, ugh.
She's like,
I have to do that a lot actually. If I wish you a happy birthday and it wasn't your birthday, you're welcome. Okay. Because there's today, you can celebrate you any day, honey.
They are. I remember those messages. I remember hearing the one you sent to Ben.
Yeah.
The one you sent to me. They're very meaningful and
Thank
nice.
you. I hope people like them. That's good.
Yes.
Okay. So Jordan left early when we went out for our 100th episode. Okay. I come back. I'm hammered. Okay. We did get a lot of shots. There was a mix of shots, lots of different ones coming around the town. So I come back home. I get out of my Uber and I'm like, God, I am hungry. And so I'm like going around the kitchen, like shuffling around. I grab a few, I'm like, oh, chips. I'll get some chips. So I put chips on the plate. I made some toast, put peanut butter on it. I was doing an assortment of things because I didn't have anything. I grabbed a little bag of cheese because I couldn't get the cheese out and I didn't want to cut it. And so I'm like, whatever. And then I'm realizing I'm alone down here and my phone's dead. So I don't really want to be alone. So I'm going to go sit upstairs in the bedroom and just eat upstairs because I don't want to be alone. It's weird. I'm sitting in the dark downstairs without a phone. So I go upstairs and I sit in the corner of the room on the little chair with my little plate on my lap. And I'm eating one chip at a time.
While Jordan's sleeping?
Yep.
In the bedroom?
Literally, all of a sudden I see him sit up in the dark and he goes, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And I literally go, what? I'm having a snack. And I'm holding my plate on my lap and I'm like, what? So pissed that even would ask. God, you're an annoyance. I was like, you're annoying. That's rude.
You're like, why are you interrupting my snack?
I'm like, I'm eating some toast and some freaking chips. What? What's your problem? And he was like, he literally goes, I cannot believe you right now. And I'm like, okay. And I continued. I finished my entire plate of chips. And then I realized how loud they were. And I was like, wow, that was not some good logic for me. Turns out I wake up in the morning and I go to Google something and I go on my phone and all that was in Google was one-eyed rapper.
And you're like, what did I look up?
And I'm like, what's this? No, that's what I was trying to figure out who that was. We were all singing it, and then it all started coming back to me. I'm like, oh yeah, we were standing at the bar, and my friend turns around and he's like, who's that other rapper, the one with the one eye? And I'm like, oh shit, I don't know.
Was this after the live episode?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so
and
funny.
I'm all I had in Google is one-eyed rapper. That's it.
Not only that,
oh, God.
not only that, you probably had 30 missed calls.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story. We're not even going to go there.
Oh,
but
my
anyway,
gosh, that's hilarious.
It was hilarious. We had a blast. But okay, without further ado, I apologize. That was long, but I think it was hilarious.
No, that was so good.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well,
we got a more serious topic coming today.
Yes.
And before we even say what we're going to talk about, we would like to trigger warning that there is going to be talk of grief. There's going to be talk of different types of abuse. And I just want to be careful that if you're in a sensitive position or you are not ready to talk about or think about these things, please take the time to reflect and do not listen to the rest of the episode. Okay?
Love
Period. Period.
Without further ado, let's bring these Erica and Liz or Lizzie
See you soon.
on the episode.
Wait, why did I say see you soon?
See you
Come
soon.
on in.
Woo!
We're popping in. Way back. I said we were going back. I said what? Okay. Can we start over? I just did a little stutter. Can we start over?
Yeah, starting over. Starting over, Ben. Wink,
Ben.
wink. Definitely keep it in.
Don't.
Okay,
I had a stutter.
We have Erica
I had a stutter.
we have Erica and Liz now in the Stray Candid studio. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Could you guys both just say your names and kind of decipher who you are so people can hear the difference between your voices? You can say your name and kind of where you're living, your story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm Liz, and I'm living in Maple Grove right now, and I work as an IT product manager.
Love it.
You want to go? Yeah. And my name's Erica. I live over in St. Louis Park currently, and I work as a pediatric trauma PA at Children's.
Amazing.
Oh.
You both are cool. God. I'm like, maybe I could do that. You know, when you hear people's jobs and you're like, ooh, I'm going to change my career path at 25 right now. Go back to school.
Yeah.
People do that all the time.
You definitely
I
could.
don't have the energy for that. Nope. I don't think I could go back to school, but you guys are freaking amazing and so smart. And also you look badass today.
Thank
my
you.
gosh,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
do. Your boots and your
wonderful.
shoes and your pants. I'm like, geez.
They
Snappy.
walked in and we were like, whoa, this is
Oh.
like and it's funny because we have a blonde and a brunette and they're just popping off with their fashion.
I
And
know.
was like, I
I'm like,
love that.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
we-
Thank you.
We didn't even intro you guys because we didn't want to tell the story for you, like what we're going to talk about. But could you give us that brief intro of like
Who you
who
are.
you are?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start by giving some background. So when we started out, we were living with our biological parents, and our biological mother was very abusive and neglectful, and she struggled with substance abuse issues. And then our biological dad was not really in the picture because he was in and out of jail all the time, I think for like narcotic sales or issues of some sort. So we didn't really see him. And then we went into foster care when we were 5. Yeah. And then we were eventually adopted by the same family that we started living with when we went into foster care. They adopted us, our younger sister, our biological younger sister, and then they adopted 4 other foster children eventually.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's a ton of kids. It was a chaotic upbringing just from that standpoint. But shortly after we came into the care of the Handt household, we started to also experience physical abuse, munchausen by proxy, and emotional abuse.
So rewind, because I heard some words that I was like, can you explain Munchausen? What exactly is that?
Yeah, so munchausen by proxy is when a caregiver will impose an illness or a condition on a person that's in their care. And I think it's most typically seen, or people are most familiar with it from movies and stuff where, you know, like the mother will poison their kid or like give their kid medication that they don't need, or they'll take their kid in for unnecessary surgeries. our experience with Munchausen by proxy was more around the psychological realm, which feels like a gray area, but it technically still is Munchausen by proxy. And so we were told growing up that we had fetal alcohol syndrome.
You were told that did they
by our
know?
adopted mother.
Okay, so she told you that, not a doctor.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So fetal alcohol syndrome, just for people who don't know what that is, it's basically happens when a mother drinks excessively while pregnant. And it can result in like physical defects, cognitive delays, social delays. Sometimes you can have like heart and lung conditions that go along with it. And we were raised basically thinking like we have severe fetal alcohol syndrome. We're never going to live a normal life. Like these are just things that we were told from the time that we started living with them.
What age were you at when you remember like thinking like I have fetal alcohol syndrome and I'm going to be different than other people? Like, do you have a time in mind?
Yeah. So we went in for like in-depth neuropsychological testing at the U of M. And when we went there, our adopted mother was like, yeah, you're going to get tested for fetal alcohol syndrome. And so we were probably 6 or 7 at the time, I think. We were 7, I think.
Just a little kid.
Yeah. And so when we left that place, we asked her, like, do we have it? And she was like, yeah, you do.
And what was her reasoning?
And did you see the results?
Well, no, like, I mean, like, we were kids, so we just, like, believed what our parent was telling us, you know?
Okay. I mean, I don't want to flash too much forward, but I'm like, let's say you're 16 at this time or 12 or whatever. Are you asking your mom at the time, you know, not your biological mom or your adopted mom, why she thought you had this and like why your behaviors maybe don't match with someone that has this disorder? Is it a disease or disorder? I'm sorry. I don't know.
It's just a condition. But yeah, I would say like we spent pretty much all the way up until end of high school, graduating high school, legitimately thinking we have this. Like, we didn't realize that we were actually like relatively normal. And I hate using the word normal, but you know, like we were amongst our peers until we were like in college and living just a very normal college experience like anyone else would.
So interesting. Like, so she tells you have this. I feel like I've read about Munchausen and there's other restrictions that people do, especially if it's not just physically like poisoning and different things like that. Like, can you talk about that? Like as you grew up?
So she didn't really do a lot of the typical like physical medical conditions or physical restrictions or anything. She just would weaponize it against us and try to use it to control us. So for example, a really great example is when we wanted to get our driver's license, she told us we couldn't get our driver's license because our fetal alcohol syndrome made us unable to react quick enough if we were to get into like a car accident or something.
So she wanted to limit you.
Yeah.
And control what you can and can't do.
Exactly.
Have you questioned the results of that? Obviously, like, I mean, you're probably like, absolutely. But have you ever dug any deeper to like get the records for that?
I've tried to, but we changed our names when we got adopted. So it is really tough to find those records. Yeah, and then also in the 90s, like everything is paper records still. Yeah. And so like you really don't have any access to that. We have a handful of paperwork like that we've collected just from our adoption, and like we've seen that when we were in the care of the Handt household for the first 2 weeks, they brought us in requesting anxiety medications for 6-year-olds. And that was like our big red flag. As adults, we were like, oh, that is wrong. Because like we were ripped from our biological mother's house and had a very traumatizing experience just from that. And then to have anxiety was pretty reasonable. Yeah. And so like for them to go seek medication for like a 6-year-old for anxiety was kind of like our red flag.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes no sense.
Was that the moment you realized like I think we were maybe abused mentally from this situation? That was the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Like our dad passed away, and then our adoptive dad passed away when we were 23 roughly, and we started going through our paperwork we were just kind of like grieving, and that was our process. And then we realized like, oh wow, what she was doing was wrong. And so we basically like called her out on it. We're like, you are such, like, you lied to us. You said that all these things were wrong with us. And like her defense was she was a single mom trying to do her best and like poor me. But basically like at that moment was the moment we went no contact.
Wow. When was this?
Basically we were like 23, 24-ish.
Okay. And how old are you guys right now? 29. Okay.
Wow.
So you had, it's like been like 6 years.
Was there anything else weird about your upbringing?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I mean, there were your typical,
and the way she parents, I guess.
Yeah.
She parents.
So her parenting style was abusive. Like that's really the only way to describe it. She would find ways to humiliate us around our other siblings and like pin the siblings against each other. So like there were 7 or 8 of us at any given time. And it was like, Erica told a story recently about how like she would feel so anxious coming home from school on the bus, on the school bus, because we didn't know what version of her we were getting. And so, yes, the physical abuse is very obviously wrong. For us as kids, we couldn't really wrap our heads around it because we were physically abused by our biological parents. So we were like, oh, maybe this is what parents do. I don't know.
So there was physical abuse too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then like even into our like teenage years, she would attack us and like try to choke us, and we would call the cops. And basically the way she sold it was that we had severe mental illness and we started an altercation. She was defending herself.
So she would blame it on you even after calling the police, causing
like
even more of a scene and act. And then now in your head, you're like, wait a minute, did I cause that? Am I a bad, like, you know what I mean? Imagine when you're insecure and you're a teen and you're
getting gaslit by your own mother.
Yeah. There was actually a specific scenario when we were 14 and she attacked me on the couch, and it was so traumatizing for our younger sibling that she wet herself. And she literally looked at me and was like shouting at me and was like, look what you just did. You caused this. You put her through this trauma. You did this. And in addition, not only did she like choke me out and scratch up my neck, but as a punishment, I had to quit track.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is so messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just not okay. Because this is just horrifying. It makes my stomach drop. But to think about how you were still going to school and doing all like the normal kid things, you know, and like you had siblings like you probably were helping take care of because they were in the same position as you and you could see more as being older. What was it like for your siblings then too? Because obviously they're seeing all this. It's traumatizing. Were they involved in that and affected by
Yeah,
that?
I think that they also were deeply affected by it because like we had fetal alcohol syndrome, but like she also diagnosed each and every one with something different.
Oh,
and
really?
so like, yeah, so we would get
all 8 of you had an illness,
some kind of illness. And
Okay.
I don't know like what's true and what's not, because I think that there are some components that could be true. So I have no idea. But I know that she was shopping around for doctors to diagnose one of our younger siblings with schizophrenia. And like she would tell people like they have the worst schizophrenia or bipolar I've ever seen and that the doctors have ever seen. And like that like magical, like very like extreme wording is also kind of the characteristic of somebody who has Munchausen by proxy.
Well, then you get attention then because it's like, wow,
That's
look
the
at
main-
you dealing with these broken kids is basically what her story was.
Yep.
Why did she
Interesting.
continue to get away with this? Like 8 kids with illnesses? Like how,
That's what my
like why didn't anyone see this? I'm so confused. Like did she like come off as a good mother like in public?
Oh yeah.
So she faked it.
She carried herself very well. She was like really well known in the community, really big in the church. Yeah.
Interesting.
And trusting
Hashtag
and
blessed.
yes. And she also
we were joking about saying blessed earlier. So
She keeps saying blessed. So I'm like,
we're
what is
so
going on?
blessed. Okay.
and she also like she started out as a foster parent, and so I think like the court system just doubled down on the fact that they continued to place kids with her.
Wow, it makes me feel so unsettled because you're talking about people in the most vulnerable state, you guys being in the most vulnerable state, these kids being taken away from your families for a reason, but that is your family. You know, these are the people that birthed you or whatever you want to call it, raised you partially. how, like, do you feel like the system is broken? Like, that's a tough question to ask. I know, and I'm not implying that it is, but you lived it. I did not.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak to it too, because I get to work with it in my career as well, because working as a pediatric trauma PA, we deal with non-accidental trauma or child physical abuse. And so the system is definitely broken. It's come a long way from the 90s. Like, the 90s was rough.
Wild, Wild West.
It was wild, Wild West. And I think that, there's like cases, there's documentaries on Netflix. I forget the name. I forget, is it Gabriel something? There's a documentary on Netflix that kind of talks about how the system failed a child and ultimately led to the death of a child.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I mean, basically.
Gabriel Fernandez?
Yes,
okay.
Gabriel Fernandez. So I would recommend watching that. But yeah, it's just, the system is very broken. I'm not entirely sure, like, how do you fix it? Because I think that there's so many areas that need to be fixed and not enough financial support to do so. But yeah, there's work to be done, and it's sad when you have to determine whether, like, your initial home where you were getting physically abused was better than, like, the home that you actually grew up in foster care. Like, you have to think which one would have been better.
Wow. Have you got any justice from this situation? Like, has this mother, your foster mom, had any consequences?
No.
Are you
No,
serious?
she's just out there living life.
She's
still
fostering?
She's not fostering. I don't know what she's up to, but she does have kids. She's got, so they adopted 7 of us total, and then she had one of her own biological children.
So she wasn't a single mom.
Well, so our parents got divorced when we were 15.
Okay, so
yeah,
so halfway through.
Yeah, and then she had a kid with a guy who was also abusive to all of us, by the way. And then he left her and left the kid. So he's 10 or 11 now.
Yeah, I think he's like 11 now.
I hate to even dig, but, like, did you go to the people a part of what's it called, social work and different things like that, and say, like, hey, this was happening to us, you missed all of these things?
Oh,
like,
yeah, we've definitely reported it as adults, and our therapists who are mandated reporters also have reported it because they listen to our stories as we heal through all of it. So yeah, I think, like, we've all brought attention to it, and people don't really, it's like, she's still providing clothes and resources to these kids, like, you can't,
it's like,
you got to pick your battles.
Something's better than nothing or something like that.
It's the situation. It's the same court system that put you in that home in the first place that also won't give her consequences too,
exactly. Right.
Yeah. I have heard, and it's not about this, but I've heard of people adopting kids in order to receive the government stipend and be like, have things written off of taxes and different things like that. Especially when you can have 8, well, 7, but 8, you know what I mean? Kids under the one roof as a single mom. That's like guaranteed you're rolling in the dough from the government.
That's how I felt when I studied abroad in Barcelona.
Wait, why?
Because my host mom literally just wanted money. She would, like, feed me a cracker for dinner. I'm like,
that happened to my friend.
I was like, come on. And I literally stayed in, like, this corner room, and, like, luckily I made friends and always slept over at someone else's house.
Sad.
But, like, yeah, she just wanted the money.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but get this, it's even worse. Like, you get more money based off of what is wrong with the child. So if a child is on medication, you get more money. And so
that's probably
there's
part
even
of it. Another
more
layer
to gain. Correct. As far as justice, I just remembered our younger sister, our biological sister, she did get an order for protection against her when she was 17.
Okay.
Because she had choked her.
But it's like you had to prove that. No,
yeah.
Tell me this, because you had been attacked at times, and you obviously were unsettled even riding home from the bus. Were there adults in your life that should have seen this going on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we had adult siblings that were involved and should have probably seen that it was wrong. There were also, like, friends of our parents who, like, still to this day, like, stand by her side. And they act as though us going on podcasts and talking about it is, and, like, having a blog about it is to start drama, and we aren't letting her just live her life. She's trying to move on.
Oh, she's
and we're
trying to
the
move
bad
on?
people. Yeah.
From the trauma she caused?
Oh, okay. Yeah, she literally fucked your life up. Like,
I'm sorry, lady, but you're messed up in the head. And if you listen to this, you got a fucking problem. Sorry to go there, but I just cannot stand. I cannot. I'm like, that makes me so disgusted.
How are you both still sitting here like beautiful young women, very level-headed, and like how were you able to kind of heal from this whole experience, and how did you get to where you are right now?
So I would say, like, we kind of talked about this, but we didn't really put it all together until we were in our 20s. And I think part of that is that our heart and our minds had to feel safe before we could actually just process like what all happened. But then also a few responses that you can have to trauma. We all know fight or flight. That's the very classic kind of response. But you can also have something called fawn or freeze. And so freeze is something where you kind of dissociate from the trauma. You can fall into a depression or something like that. And fawn is something more that's like people pleasing. So you can't say no. You can't set boundaries. You have difficulties not putting other people's needs above your own. And so I definitely focused more on like the fawn or freeze response when I was in my 20s, and really didn't have to sit down with my trauma until 2020 hit, because I was off like traveling nonstop until like I would only be home enough to work my shifts, and then I would go off to my next trip, which was so fun. Like, honestly, It was such a cool part of my life, but I was definitely running from my trauma. And so once 2020 hit, I finally was like, okay, I need to do something about this. I'm having a lot of really bad relationships. Like, I just want to end this cycle.
When you say bad relationships, like abusive relationships?
Like dating?
Yes. Oh. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely translating into my relationships with significant others. And so that was kind of like my big thing that made me realize that I needed to get outside help. And so I ended up finding a trauma therapist. And she was really great. She helped me realize why I was repeating the same patterns, and just gave me like different, like kind of gave me a different light of why certain things affected me differently. And so that was really helpful for myself.
What about you, Liz?
Yeah.
So I did things a little bit different. I just put my head down and focused on school. So like right after we graduated high school, went to college. I always loved school and I loved learning. So I was like, I'll just put my head down, get myself through school. I was like just zoned in on the life that I wanted to create for myself. And so, yeah, I worked really hard focusing on that. So similar to Erica, I kind of disassociated, like was in denial a little bit. And I know, she also mentioned like the fawn response. That was very much me. I did a lot of people pleasing. I was also really struggling with setting healthy boundaries with friends, within my relationships. Ultimately, I ended up seeing a therapist actually when our dad passed away when we were 23. I went in for the grief part of it initially, and then I was like, ooh, I should probably stay here. Like, let's just hash things out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but that therapist, it just didn't work. I wasn't getting a lot out of it other than I can vent to her, and then she would be super shocked, and I'd be like, this is not super helpful.
Yeah, that's not it.
So I found
like, oh, that happened? Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I had one of those.
Her jaw was on the floor, and I was like, oh, okay.
You're like, that's not helping.
Yeah, I was like, what do we do now?
I actually just had that experience today in therapy. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. I love that. Yes.
So I found a new therapist also specialized in trauma, and I've been seeing her for the last like year or so, I want to say, and it's been night and day. I feel like I've made so much better progress.
Amazing. That's so powerful.
Therapists for both of you.
Yeah,
literally.
Therapy.
I think about how you guys did not have an adult figure that you trusted in. I'm sure that caused a lot of trust problems, a lot of relationship problems, and I want to ask about that, but I wanted to ask first of like, how the hell did you even get yourself to college and like find a place to live and like start making an income and know at all what to do? Because I feel like there's people out there that don't have someone like that and they have nowhere to go. They have no idea what to look to.
Yeah, I think we both really excelled in academics. Like we were doing post-secondary enrollment option in high school. So we did 2 years of college while we were in high school. And so that kind of helped get our feet on the ground, and being in the college world, we were able to figure out what does financial aid look like. We had academic advisors, so that was really helpful. But yeah, I think like we just kind of always knew that college was the route for us. We knew we needed to get out. We didn't know what that looked like, and college was like the obvious next step because everyone moves away when you're going to college.
You're like, yeah, out of the house.
We're like, we'll leave. That's fine.
Yeah, you're like, we'll go.
When did you guys move out?
We moved out the day after high school graduation.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like,
how did that feel?
Like a relief. Like, yeah. We actually had one of those, you know, those paper chains.
Oh yeah.
So we had one.
A countdown.
A countdown to moving out.
Moving
out. We did.
Did she know about that?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Like, did she know you guys didn't like her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, were you ever at home? Like, I'm just trying to think of the dynamic and like understand it.
In high school, like I think once we started PSEO, post-secondary enrollment, we tried to make ourselves as scarce as possible. And I think kind of like maybe one of the nice things about our situation was that we, in order to get anything that we wanted, we had to work for it. Like if we wanted to get a car, we had to pay for it. So we had to have a job. Like we worked at the local Dairy Queen. And so we were just putting in hours at DQ, making blizzards, and doing PSEO and saving up money. And so, yeah, Erica said, we figured out our FAFSA financial aid situation. We went to school. In school, I was working 2 jobs.
Badass ladies.
So you can do these things.
Yeah.
You can do these things. It's amazing though, truly. And then I'll stop blabbing. That you have like so much grit for like good, like the good when you didn't get to experience that.
Well, thank you.
Seriously. I wonder, and it's so funny because like if you were to do this by yourself and alone, I feel like knowing like if that was me by myself, I feel like I would have reverted to like shutting down, like who knows, drugs, like just trying to numb out these feelings. But it was almost, you had someone else to go through this with. Do you think some of this had to do with like each other pushing each other along?
Oh, for sure. We were always super competitive. I mean, think about like pre-social media. You're literally born with a social media person. Yeah. Like
true.
I had to compare myself to her all the time. It was
you got
like,
an A? Well, I got an A+.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it was literally that. It was like academics always against each other. And it wasn't because parents would do that. It was literally like, I'm not going to let you do better than me. And it was the same thing for sports or anything like that. Like it was always directly comparing each other.
So you had each other to keep you. The competition basically brought you out of all of it on top.
Yeah,
which is pretty amazing.
I think that yeah, and then I think too, like we didn't have an adult figure that we could look up to really, but we did have each other, and so like that, I could look at Liz and know that I always had at least one person in my life to trust, no matter what.
Man. You mentioned grieving your biological father, right?
Our adopted dad.
Dad. Okay, so I guess I want to hear more about that. So did you have a okay relationship with your adopted dad at any point? Yeah,
I think it was okay growing up. Like he served as kind of a buffer, and we would, play games all the time. He was like more of the fun parent, I guess, if you will. And I think we had an okay relationship. I didn't have a relationship with him after the divorce, just because the divorce when we were 15 was so messy, and they both were, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. And
was he ever physically abusive?
Maybe like once or twice that I can think of, but as an adult looking back, I do kind of feel like he was accountable for her behavior because he just sat back and allowed it. And as an adult, like it's equally his responsibility to keep his kids safe. Right.
Absolutely,
so
it is.
I do kind of feel like he just didn't do maybe what I would have expected him to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, grieving the loss of him, it was tough because it was so unexpected. Okay. How he passed away, and I didn't have a relationship with him, and I thought I had time. And that was the component that was so hard for me.
That's very difficult. I mean, you're thinking about all these these relationships with people that you have to balance, and like now you guys are married, Both of you married,
Yeah,
right?
they both got rocks on
I
their
can't.
fingers.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm looking at them glisten in the light. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, what would my finger look like?
Should we put them on for the rest of the podcast?
But no, thinking about all these relationships that you've had to sort through with your biological parents, with your, adopted parents, with people that you didn't trust, standing by other people. Like, what was that like transitioning into dating and like the relationship that you're in right now? Because you have to think that some of that trauma is coming over a little bit.
Oh, for sure. And like my relationships, definitely, I was just repeating the same cycle over and over again. Like I was dating an abusive, not good person that would call me things like white trash and all these other names. But like I found myself repeating the same relationship over and over again. And it finally got to the point, like I said, that I went into therapy. And I still do carry some of those trust issues and have some triggers. Like we talked about when I would come home from school and I wouldn't know what kind of mom I was getting. Like a huge trigger for me is coming home and like my husband, if he's had a stressful day, like he has every right to have be stressed, but I will walk into the house and I can sense that uneasiness. And it is like the worst trigger for me. Like I will feel so sick to my stomach. I'll think like, what did I do wrong? And like start to internalize a lot of it. And so it's definitely been a learning curve for Brian, and he's been amazing through all of this. But I also put in a lot of work to heal some of that trauma. And so, I mean, it's a balance of figuring out what your triggers are, finding a therapist that can help you cope through those triggers, and then just kind of being patient and having a good patient partner.
And communicating it with him.
Yeah. Communication's key.
Yeah. Do you have any triggers?
So do I have any triggers? Yes. But I've been with my now husband for like 10 years. So we've been together since I was 19. So it's been a while.
So he's known all of it too.
Yeah. So he was in the thick of like my unhealthiest version of myself, and like God bless him for hanging out with me still. But yeah, like we've been through it, and then we went through the pandemic together, and like coming out of the pandemic, we're like, we could do anything.
We might as well get married.
Might as well, tie the knot. Why not?
Yeah. So we actually had one of those 2020 pandemic weddings that got postponed and postponed and postponed. We finally got married in 2021. But
I love it.
How do you balance in your relationship just with, but I suppose he was around longer, obviously, so that's helpful because he knows probably the mom that adopted you and different things like that. Yeah, so he was around when we were still in contact with her, and, he was supportive of whatever we wanted to do. And so, he'd tag along to events even though he hated it. And then when we went no contact, he was very supportive of that as well. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of my healing happened in my early 20s. And I feel like I had a lot of unhealthy behaviors in my early 20s where I would just take out a lot of my, like, to Erica's point, trust issues on him. And gosh, like, I just feel so fortunate to be out on the other side of that piece of it. I do still occasionally have triggers where I'll be like super anxious, or I can sense that I'm like heading into a depression. But we're thankfully able to have open conversations about that. So
yeah. Communication key with that right there.
That's everything. No, did you have a question?
I was just gonna keep moving to this one. Do you think we're good?
Well, I had one.
Go for it then.
Just because it kind of goes into this actually, so I think it'll be good. I asked about this to you guys when you walked in, about how you guys have been through so much and you still came out on the top. And that doesn't happen to everybody, right? Not everybody has a twin and different things like that. But do you think there are instances where people are using grief or things that hurt them as an excuse for bad behavior?
Yeah, I think that we have even siblings that still haven't gone through the healing process and are in complete denial and probably a little bit trauma bonded to our mom. But like, I think that they also have this external locus of control where everything is everyone else's fault. And we had more of an internal locus sense of control, or however you say that, where we knew like we could get a better life if we just did the work. And so I think that is just a matter of like perception. And there definitely are people who don't have the resources to pull themselves back up. And I do have I understand that may be the case for some people, but we lived it. We know that you can put in work to get to where you want to be. And there gets to be a point where you're going to always be the victim of your trauma, or you can decide to be a survivor and be on the other side.
Oh, I love that.
I knew it. Like,
wow.
You can even think this is so like, I can think back when my parents were getting divorced and all these bad things happened, and like I got attacked and all this stuff. And it's like, I felt so bad for myself. And then I thought about it a lot, and I did a lot of self-reflection and therapy. And I was like, I'm like actually kind of lucky. And I can either keep living by the like, oh my God, poor me, or just know that, yeah, I had some shit happen to me and I'm okay. And actually my life is pretty amazing right now and I need to heal. Like I wanted to get there. Yeah. So I had to ask your opinion on it because your situation looked way different than anything that I've ever experienced and can't even compare it. But
and I've also met people that their trauma has turned them into, like you said, blaming others for everything. Like they're the victim and it comes out more as like anger. So it just repeats the cycle. So then with their kids, they're the same way. Maybe it's less, maybe it's not physical abuse. Maybe it's more emotional abuse. And then that kid has a little bit of trauma, the little T trauma from their childhood that circles back into the next generation. And we're like so interested in generational trauma even. We eventually want someone on to talk about that. But it's also cool to know that we're the generation that is going to therapy because maybe we have the chance of breaking that cycle.
I have goosebumps.
I know,
but I'm
absolutely.
like thinking of the Colleen Hoover book because we're all fans.
Yes.
I know.
I love Colleen.
I've
read every book so far now.
I know.
Just finished
really
her new one.
Okay, so that was it ends with book. Us. I mean, it's just like just in the title itself is like we are going to stop this cycle right now.
Did you read that second one yet?
Yeah.
No, don't tell me.
Don't tell me I haven't read
the blue
it yet.
cover.
Yes.
Yeah, it starts I'm reading with that right now.
Oh, did you read the first one first?
Yeah, it ends with us.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Oh no, and now I heard a name that was like from the other book, and I'm like, wait a minute.
She does that though.
I know. I love it. I'm like, there's
well, it is. It's
like
I
know that person.
It's a sequel. It actually is the same.
Well, no, like they have. She has crossovers of different characters into different books, and so I'm like, wait, I know that person.
Yeah, that's I know as if it's a person. I'm like,
I know. I'm like, we know them.
Okay, so since we are around the holidays, when this releases, Thanksgiving had already happened, but Christmas is coming up. And I know when we don't have like this typical family, like let's go to mom and dad's for Christmas and invite our significant others. I guess if we have listeners that are kind of in the same situation, and I know listeners have expressed it finding difficult to kind of make the holidays feel family friendly and comforting. So do you have any advice regarding this time of the year?
Yeah. So I think we've done a really good job of making our own traditions. And I think also we've redefined what our definition of family is. And I think we feel super fortunate to have the close-knit group of friends that we have because our friends have definitely become our family at this point. And so, yeah, I think it's all about creating your own new traditions. Like we have our own traditions, just me, Erica, and our significant others. And it's
can we hear them? What do you do?
Yeah. So, well, for Thanksgiving, we do Friendsgiving, and that's with like all of our friends and then Erica and her husband, Brian. And for Christmas, we'll usually do something at my house and Erica will sleep over. And we'll just do like we'll do like a sister slumber party, and we'll make she got me hooked on this. It's like a Grinch mix or something. It's like a green colored popcorn trail mix thing that she makes.
Wait, so how do you make it?
It's literally just like popcorn, like Rice Krispies, more or less, because you put like the marshmallow mix, but you put green in it to make it Grinchy, and then you throw in like the holiday M&Ms.
Wait, my mom makes a version of this, but they're called wreaths. And they're they're the cornflakes and marshmallow, and they're green, and then she puts little red candies in there.
Yeah, this is just like a bowl of marshmallow popcorn with
I
M&Ms.
love popcorn.
And I love popcorn too, so I'm like, we have to have this for movie night. So we'll throw on like Christmas movies and our little jammies and have like fun snacks and stuff.
Oh my God, cute.
You love popcorn. I love marshmallows. It's like the perfect
Oh my
duo.
gosh,
it is.
I literally have popcorn. I'm not kidding you. at least every other day, sometimes every day. Like,
I love it.
Big old batch on the stove. So good.
I love that. I love hearing, because I was going to ask, like, who's your family now? And you said it. It's like your friends and your significant others and each other.
Yeah.
You're lucky that you have each other to know, like, this person, I look over it and this person knows the trauma that I went through and knows where we've been together. You know what I mean? That's huge. It makes total difference. But it was really important we had you guys on now, because it is hard for a lot of people. Like, the holidays are not easy for everybody. Like, we forget that families are not just this like beautiful, easy, completely understanding thing, whether it be divorce or whether it be married parents that are not maybe getting along, or there's a lot of underlying things. There's so many things on the spectrum that go down from there, but we just wanted to talk about it.
It's exactly what I was just going to say, is like, it's not even like, maybe not your exact situation. Like, maybe you still go to your family's house and it just causes that stir of emotions that you had when you were a child. Like, for me, for example, in therapy, I was talking about this morning, like, oh, I'm not gonna be with my family for Thanksgiving. But then part of me was like, it actually is kind of, I love my family. I'm so excited for Christmas with them. But part of it stems back to like when I had more of disordered eating and I'm around the same people and the same environment and the same comments and the same, oh, but what if I want 2 pieces of pie? Well, in this family, we only have 1 and it is this big. It's like, so it's just like those little things that you still have to deal with over the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why this episode, like Sid said, is so important at this time, because if you are someone dealing with that, do we have tips? My tips would be to, try to not let as many comments, I guess, get to you, / maybe say something. What would you recommend?
Only go for a specific set period of time if you know it's going to make you uncomfortable.
Love
like
that.
That's something that I know other people that do. I'm lucky that I really like going to my mom's. It makes me feel good. When my parents weren't getting along and my dad wasn't allowed to be there, I really didn't like the situation going on. It was
so you'd
not
be like, I
good.
can come for a couple hours.
Yeah, I'll go for a little bit, or I would disappear to the basement and I would just like go take a nap because I just couldn't. And I don't nap, you know this. Yeah. Like, I just couldn't deal with the tension and like the questions and like the, little hints that parents make to each other of like, oh, like, well, where is he? And I'm like, I know who you're talking about. Like, so that would be my tip. And I'm sure you guys have plenty. And by the way, my situation, I'm very lucky for what I have right now. And like everything, it's a spectrum. Wherever you're dealing with right now, whether it be about relationships, whether it be about food, whatever the struggle is, it matters and it's important.
Yeah. And I just also want to say too, like along those lines, like every single person is carrying something with them. And you don't need to compare like mine is bigger than yours, like whatever, or that you're so nice and you're saying like, that your situation is better. But like you have something that makes you feel uncomfortable. So like it's okay to not have to be grateful for having a less shitty situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's fine. We all have our shit. We're all going through it. And like that's the end of it. But I would just recommend for people who are going to family events, just kind of reflect on how you're feeling when you leave. Yeah. And just kind of, I challenge you to kind of think about like, what is it that you're feeling when you're leaving? Because if you're feeling anxious, like it's making you feel sick to your stomach, or you're having like really negative emotions around going to this event, you probably need to consider like, why is it that you're feeling that way? And then is this worth your time and energy? Because like relationships are 2 ways. And if you're not getting back what you are giving, it's not worth your time.
Yeah.
Even
love
if it's
that.
family.
Yeah. Even if it's family, you don't owe them anything.
Family can be whoever you want it to be.
Exactly.
That's like a huge piece of this. It can be whoever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to look a certain way. And I love all this conversation. I think it's just it's so important to talk about grief, whatever it looks like. You know what I mean? And these situations that people are in, because there are likely listeners out there who maybe even haven't searched for what they're feeling and haven't like reflected on what they've been feeling. So please, if you're hearing it and it's stirring something up, like, take steps for therapy and
dig into that
and dig into it more. Like that's what we encourage. I really do. I do. Yeah. Think that.
Thank you so much for being vulnerable and opening up to us and sharing your story with the audience. I think we should leave them with something a little upbeat, little light. I would love to hear if you guys know what straight. Do you guys listen?
They listen.
Oh, yeah,
they know.
listen.
They're like, yeah, we
we're
listen.
listeners.
Do you know what a straight candid moment is?
Yeah, you're like,
what's that? I'm just kidding.
Do you guys have a straight candid moment you want to share? It could be
who the hell
last
was
week.
that?
It could be a month ago. It could be just a great one that you have in mind.
Yeah. Just since we're coming on here as sisters, I have a funny little twin moment
Yeah,
that actually just happened last week. So we were at our best friend's gender reveal, and it's like our friend that we've been friends with since we were 5. So we know her family really, really well. And her grandparents were there, and one of the grandmas had looked right at me and said, "Liz, how's work? Blah, blah, blah." Like started asking me questions. And I just didn't skip a beat. I answered to Liz as if she was, I'm Liz.
Wait, you pretended to be her?
No, I answered as myself, but I responded and didn't correct her. But she totally called me out. She like later on when she discovered that I was actually Erica, she was like, "You responded to Liz." And she was like so offended that I responded to Liz. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I wasn't being rude and not listening to you. I heard you call me Liz. I just,
forgot to correct.
I'm so used to being called the other name that I didn't even notice." So
that's freaking funny.
Completely over her head. She was just like, "Yep."
The woman's probably like so flustered.
Yeah,
too.
she's like,
I can't believe that. Why would you do that? Yeah,
I forgot to share this, but I was at a Halloween party and
oops, can't hear you.
Someone called me Sid. And I literally, and like, yeah, and I'm like, people are getting us confused now. It's not that you guys look the exact same. Obviously, one's blonde, one's brunette. Same with us, but it's like, you're the sisters, we're the podcasters, and it's like, Sid, and I literally go, "What'd you call me?"
I've honestly, before I've been like, I don't care enough right now. I'm like,
"What'd you call me, bitch?"
It's going well. Yeah. I know, you do. He's like, Soph. Sid. I'm like, yeah, what? I was waiting for you to correct yourself before I respond.
Freaking Jordan called me last week. He was like, "Hey, Sid." I'm like, "What's up, babe?" And I was like,
"Oh, shut the fuck up. She's a liar. Dude, F you."
Do you have a straight kind of moment you want to share?
I along the lines of
shitting your pants.
No, absolutely not. Liz just asked me on the way here. She was like, "Do straight candid moments have to be shitting our pants?" Yes, I honestly was curious because I was like, I don't have a scenario where I need a gross moment.
Jordan, we just say that because it lets the guests know that you can go as raunchy as you want.
Yeah. Oh. Jordan didn't believe me that it was a thing until he did it himself, and he finally admitted, like, "Okay, yeah, I did it." Yeah. So anyway.
I would say a straight candid moment, more of like a sister candid moment happened, was a couple weeks ago. We were getting our nails done, and when we don't wear makeup and like don't, get beautified, we like look very, very young. Like we have baby faces.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
So we're getting our nails done, and
are you going to prom?
Yes, we get that all the time. Yes. Yeah, we do.
God, will you just be quiet over here?
But actually, this one was even more funny because the nail tech asked Erica, like, "Oh, is that a special ring?" Because she saw her wedding ring. And Erica was like, "Yeah, like, it's my wedding ring." And she was like, "No." Like, literally thought Erica was a teenager, married. And so I came over, and she was like, "You're not 29. And I was like, "We are."
You're like, "Yeah, I
am. And she's like, I don't buy it. Like,
I'm not a teen bride."
She was like, she thought she was a teen bride. It was so funny.
She was like, "Did you get pregnant?" Like,
she was really concerned for both of our safeties because then she was like, "I'm also married," and she's like, "No."
Oh my God, I love how the nail techs too. They want all the tea. They're like, "So what? How did this? Tea. What's going on? Like, are you sure? Are you lying about your age?" I could just see them like digging for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You guys are amazing. You're like the most put together, like well-rounded, kind, and gorgeous individuals ever.
I want to date you.
I know. I'm like, we can date. Oh no, we can't.
We
no,
can.
you're married. Never mind. Oh shoot.
And we have boyfriends.
Oh yeah, wait.
And we're straight.
Oh
shit.
Shoot. Okay. Well, you know what? Never mind. We don't need a date, but we freaking appreciate you being here and sharing everything. Like Soph said, like digging to those places that maybe you don't love to go back to, but in order to help the people that are listening is like a huge deal. So we so appreciate it.
I was gonna say, and I hope that you guys do one day get justice for everything that went on. So,
and I'm sorry that I called out
vibes.
Your adopted mom.
No, please don't be sorry for that. Don't be sorry for that.
I literally was like, if you fucking listen, like, okay, take a breath.
They loved it.
You're psychotic. They're gonna be like, they jail her, not the other one. Like, geez, I'm like,
she's gonna come knocking.
I know, I'm scared. It was Sophie. Can you guys?
She lives in Minnetonka.
Shut up. Can you guys tell people where to find you, just in case they have questions or if they want to reach out for any like sort of advice on how to get started and healing.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram as @LizHandt. Our last name's HANDT. And I'm at Erica A. Blake because that's my new married name.
New last name alert. Hi.
Hey.
Everybody listening out there at Straight Candid Podcast, you know where to find us, you know what to do. Share, like, review, do all the things, please, will ya? And also, don't forget about Best Christmas Ever. We talked about it in the beginning. Please, please do something for us and put $1 in that
Giving season.
It's a season of giving. And when you hear this, we're close to our end of giving. So please, if you can, make a donation, or at the very least, please share if you are able. We appreciate you. We love you guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
amazing.
you for having us.
And everyone, have a wonderful holiday season.
What's your Insta?
At Candid Sad.
And I'm at Candid Soph.
And at Ben Sarbacher.
We love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
I am sweating.
Now you know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's weird. It's like a when you're thinking. I'm always like, okay, they're saying this, but I kind of want to go this way. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of thing.
But also, like, my hands are ice cold.
Yeah, I have that.
But I'm sweating.
Yep.
My face is warm.